Good morning, everybody. I'm going to do my thing here, so give me a couple moments as I go and share that we are live. So give me a couple moments, and I will be right with you guys. All right, everybody, good morning. Another day, another dollar, huh? Let's take a look at the markets this morning. And same old here in the middle of this symmetrical triangle. Gotta love it, right? Trading sideways, right smack in the middle, again, of this symmetrical triangle. And what have you guys all learned by now with that? Is these symmetrical triangles are signs of indecision, right? So ideally, if you're a long, you want to see price break out of this triangle to the upside. If you're more of a short, what's up, Lecco? Good morning. If you're more of a short, then you want to see price fall out of the triangle. Right now, it's smack dab in the middle. So at some point, we want to see this thing either break out or break down. Choose a dang direction already, right? But as you can see, inside of this triangle, there's all these patterns within inside this pattern. But again, gotta know support and resistance, right? Don't believe hype. Don't believe the stock market's going to crash. Just look at support and resistance. It could break out or it could crash anytime. Anything can always happen in the markets, right? But be aware of support and resistance. And that's kind of what's going on right here. Price is right in the middle of a symmetrical triangle. So let's take a look at our watch list, see what's potentially moving this morning. When you have these days like this, hovering right around, previous closed, it's indecision. Good morning, Scroll. What's happening? So, this indecision and this indecision over here affects stocks, right? So if you're wondering why stocks are acting weird or not moving properly, many times it's due to the indecision. If the market has a really good green day, stocks move usually with the market up. If it's a red day, it goes down. And then these indecision days, many times there's the indecision within the actual stocks on the watch list, trade ideas, all that good stuff. All right, so let's take a look here at our watch list, see what's going on. JBCT, again, very overextended. I was looking at this one as a history of pumping, right? It's pumped up to $13 and completely dumped. So with this one right here, I had it on the watch for a potential break of $1. Not looking so hot right now, but no volume. Got to see, again, if it could break up above $1, it could go to no man's land, right? Got to watch and see. This could either pump and dump, either one. Again, when you're trading these, day trade stocks, these small cap stocks, you're looking for volatility, right? To scalp 10, 15, 20 cents. And, oh, thanks, David. Appreciate it. Oh, everybody's starting off with the nice comments today. I like it. Maybe I'll keep going, huh? let's see here, GBCT. So basically I'm looking for that one to see if it can break above $1, right? What else are we looking at? Life. So Life was looking right here to see if this one's going to potentially continue up. You can see resistance right around that 164-ish area, that 50 SMA, that pink line. You can see pre-market, it's up to 138, and it has kind of a head and shoulders, a head, a left shoulder, potentially a right shoulder. So the pattern's not looking so hot right now. Again, the pattern could turn into like an ascending triangle as well, but you can see price is really right at that neckline right now of a head and shoulders pre-market with the left shoulder end of day yesterday. So not looking so hot right now, but if it does move and continues up, needs to go, and you can see 164 would be resistance. So all right, so what else do we got here? MSIG, that's a pot stock, pump and dump stock. See if this one gets a pump. Not much going on, obviously pre-market, but you know, you can see some resistance at 37 cents, 42 cents. Again, smaller stock. You know, if this gets a pump, you can see cup, kind of a handle over here. So see if it can pump up and then break above the top of this candle. Again, something like this, you're not holding this to the moon, right? You're holding it like, you know, if this stock can get a pump from 32 cents even up to 37 cents, you know, on a 30-cent stock, if you bought 5,000 shares on it, that could be 250 bucks, right? So again, we're looking to scalp some of them. You can scalp more than others. And some of them you have them on here for these smaller penny stocks to get that quick pump, get that quick scalp, and then get out. Right? So MSIG right now not doing much of anything. All right, DNR. DNR I had as a potential break above 475. If it can get above 475, watch for a potential breakout. It's gotten up to about 460 in the aftermarket. Now it's starting to fade, right? So, you know, that may be a formation of a double top, right? If it can't break above that 475, it may fade and fall down, right? So, as of right now, DNR is not looking so hot. ADAP, looking for potential continuation and movement up. You can see, you know, anywhere from 13 bucks. If it can get over $13, might have some room to potentially that 13.50, and then it goes up from there. Again, on something like this, if it can continue upwards, you know, you might be able to scalp 50 cents, maybe $1 if it continues. Right now, it's not doing much of anything. Fate. So Fate, you can see some resistance right around that 14.45. You can kind of see more of a, kind of like an inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline here, and it extends up. So see if this one can continue and break out above that 1350-ish area for a potential movement up with resistance around 1445 area. So that is one to keep an eye on. FATE. DS. This is one I believe I was looking at for a potential short. Yeah, at or below 794. And, you know, you can see this one's very overextended. So this one might be nice for a potential short. If $8 rejects, this could fall all the way down to the 730s area. So this might be a really nice one for a potential short. Right below a whole dollar amount if that $8 fails. So that's one is most on my radar right now for a potential short. EPE. Wait. No. Oh, here we go. EPE. So this one's a cup and handle. So kind of a big cup with this handle. Want to see if it can break above that 304 area. If so, it's got some room to run to about 350-ish or so. So this is one I like at the open to see if it can get some volume. It's going to be a higher float stock, so this could be a slower grind. So it's got potential to move about up to 50 cents or so. It has a pattern, so this is one I like to keep an eye on, which is EPE. And then let's see, ASNA. This one would be more of a potential holding support. Might want to reverse and go up with room up to about that 474-ish area. So again, not much volume. That's okay. Remember, guys, as we've been teaching you guys, our watch list, the majority of them are not going to have much volume pre-market because we're making the watch list the night before, and many of times the news may have happened yesterday or the day before. And, you know, in the morning, you know, think about it. Most traders and gurus and all of the companies are out there. What are they doing? They're turning on trade ideas. They're looking at the top gappers in the morning, and they're looking at the top 3 to 5 gappers with news that are low float stocks. And then everybody in the world are watching those. And everybody in the world is trying to scalp that same 10, 15, 20 cents. If that's the arena you like to play in, that's awesome. We have lots of members in our community. You can see, for those of you guys watching on YouTube, we have our chat room over here, right on our website. Where is it here? We have a few chat rooms, right? So many different diverse traders. We have our day trader room, our swing trade room, futures room. So if you like those low float stocks that pump up, you're trying to scalp, you want to get in out really quickly, great news. We have our day trade room, lots of people talking in there. We have our trade ideas link, so we share trade ideas live every single day. So if you want to see our screen share before you buy it, you know, once you're a member, you can click here, see our trade ideas, try it out before you purchase it yourself. So again, we give you the setup and the tools for those of you guys that like to trade those types of stocks. Me personally, I am more of a slower, methodical trader. I like the patterns. I like time to get my entries and exits. I like time to be able to define my risk. So I am more naturally by trade a swing trader. But even though I'm by nature a swing trader, I slow day trading down by having like a 5-minute chart set up, let the patterns form. So I might not be in and out within 2 or 3 minutes at the opening bell. Maybe I'm out, you know, half hour, 40 minutes later, right? But I like to define my risk. I like trading medium or higher float stocks, scalp 10, 15, 20 cents. If the trade goes against me, I'm minimizing my risk. That's more my style, right? If you like the low floaters, again, we have a whole community, people that talk about them every day. We have trade ideas. Oh, no, is trade ideas not working right now? Big Bear says, what's up with the trade ideas screen? Probably Dan. Let me text Dan. All right. Always something, guys, right? People are saying there's an issue with trade ideas screen. All right, I'm sure Dan will fix it. Cody says, how's the market looking this morning? Trading sideways right in the middle of the symmetrical triangle with that doji. So, or indecision. So I'm going to split my screen over here and go over to my 2 charts side by side. We'll look at EPE for a potential long if it can get above that 302-ish area with movement up to that 350. So see how that plays out. You can see kind of a cup and handle forming. And DS over here for a potential short. You know, if $8 fails, watch that for a potential short. You're welcome, Big Bear. So I heard recently that I believe we have a mother. Oops, give me a second, Dan says. So he's going to take a look. So I think a mother, we've heard recently, listens to us every day with her little, I think it's her baby. So if you're listening, I'm not sure what your name is. Feel free to, I thought I remember seeing something about Bella. I don't know if the screen name was Bella. If you need me to sing lullabies at any time, feel free to post in the chat saying, hey, my baby's acting up. I need you to sing a little bit. So maybe I could do a little lullaby to quiet. I'm not sure if it's a he or she. You can let me know. If I'm talking too loud or I'm shouting or going my rant, maybe say, hey, quiet down. It's nap time. Or, you know, if the baby's liking it, then say, keep it up. Great job. And I'll keep it going. All right, guys. So, got to have some fun, right? And now we wait. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, again, we turned the chat off here because we have several trade rooms for you guys to join and learn from over in here. Lots of action going on a daily basis. And what I try to do each day for you guys is just teach you guys day trading by slowing it down, showing you guys the patterns. Can you turn your mic volume down, Dan says? It's really loud. Okay. Of course, he's going to ask me a technological question and see how I can do this. Let me see, guys. Hold on. Or maybe I'm too close to it. Dan, is it the gain part? Which one is it? Gain or the pattern? Is it the gain? All right. I am not a teach the baby how to trade. Hilarious. Let me know, Dan. Dan's texting me saying my mic is too loud. I'm actually talking low because of the baby, right? I know there's a baby on board, so now like I gotta feel like I gotta talk quieter. But maybe I'm talking too close to the mic. I don't know. All right, so market's open, guys. Let's take a look and see what's going on. For those of you in the chat room, can you guys hear me okay now? Am I too loud, too not loud enough? What are we looking at? EPE right now is currently failing. It is not breaking out. Gain a little down too, please. My gain is down, Dan. My gain is down as low as it can go. We'll have to do a test later. All right, so currently EPE failing right now. Obviously, if you're bullish on this, you want to see it get above that 305. It's currently failing. You can see on DS right now, again, no volume yet. Want to see if 802 or 8 fails for a potential short. All right. Everybody's saying I'm good. Dan might be picky. Dan says it's better. Awesome. All right, so not liking these one. Am I getting a delay on Thinkorswim right now? Guys, are you guys getting a delay on Thinkorswim? Or is it just not doing much of anything right today? All right, Charlie says it's perfect. So, Dan, someone says, any chance you can remove Benzinga from Trade ADS? Dan wanted to help you guys by adding something on today with Benzinga. Right? We giveth and you taketh away. And all right, something's going on, guys, with my Thinkorswim, I think. I think there's a delay right now. Something's not going so hot right now. Here we go. I'm starting to get the alerts coming across now. All right, so let's take a look at some of these. Let's see what's moving. You can see Life has a head, a left shoulder, possibly popping up for a right shoulder, or let's see if it turns an ascending triangle. It's gaining some volume. So at this point, you want to see it get above that 138 area. And be careful of this left shoulder right over in here. Right up in here. You can see right here, DS maybe failing right here. Again, we're looking at DS for a potential short, not a lot of volume. It's not breaking above 802. So if this holds, this might be a possible short down. And there are shares to short with Thinkorswim currently. And so this one we'd be looking at as a potential short with a failure below $8. And Life, potential breakout if it can get above this head and shoulders. If not, it might be a head and shoulders failure. See right here, price went up right below this left shoulder, and currently it's failing. Right, so now it needs to get up. So you guys see that, right? Head right at 138, left shoulder at 136, right shoulder just a little bit below at 135. So if this becomes bullish, you want to see it get above and break above that 138. So it's a head and shoulders that could turn into an ascending triangle depending on how it bounces around here. But it's not looking so hot at the moment. And DS might be setting up for a short. Alright, so I'm not liking these currently right now. So this is not moving right now for Life. DS, not doing much right now. I noticed I don't think Thinkorswim has shares to short, even though it says they do. So I'm going to move. Yeah, Life is not looking so hot at the moment. Right here, though, perfect example. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder. So I'm going to put Life over to the side over here. Let's go take a look at some other ones. Again, textbook, head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline, right? That's your classic pattern. Head and shoulders are a bearish pattern. Now, this one might turn from obviously a potential breakout to a breakdown. Now today, you can see the market, just to show you guys, the futures is currently bearish. That orange dotted line is bearish. It's failing. It's going green to red, right? Went up, poked up real quick, came back down. Now it's a reddish day. And hence why you see lots of this. Now, watch this. Broke neckline on this head and shoulders. Now you have more of a neck right down here. It extends down to that 122-ish area. See if it gets a bounce and at some point will recover, or watch if it fails. At this point, this is not looking so hot. Let's take a look at Fate. Fate doesn't have much volume, but It's slowly gaining. It broke above. Right up here. Needs at 13. Let me zoom in here. 1385. Again, kind of a spinning top candle. Not giving me the decision, the confidence right now in this. I just saw that it broke the high of the first 5-minute candle. Right now, watch that pattern to the side play out. I might put that fate over here now. I'm not liking life at the moment. Life was just looking kind of garbage. And now we wait, right? Not even a lot. A lot's not even hitting trade ideas. So you can see even there's trade ideas on our other screen, and then our morning scan. Not a lot going on. We can take a look. I'll take a look when some of these. Let me look at SBOT for a second here. Again, quick 5-minute candle up, broke pre-market high down over in here. And, you know, get that quick 5-minute candle up. Now your potential reversal, right? You know, so on days like today, you got to be quick, real quick. If the market's heading down, you might get one quick 5-minute pop or so, and then watch for reversal. And this is a potential reversal candle forming. And now, let's see, ADAP. Let me look at that one. ADAP. Might be reversing. Let's see, look at the daily over here. So it's struggling to break out. Okay, so I was looking, okay, this might be a reversal, possible short, but close to the moving average line, so not liking that one. It's not so hot. Fate, you can see these spinning top candles. Just, you don't trade those. Way too difficult. But ASNA, let's take a look at that one. This one might be moving a little bit. My computer's not zooming in. So right here, possible reversal. Moving up right now. See if we can get above that 428-ish area. Now let's drill in here. You can see that 5-minute, kind of that high wave candle. Now you got to get above that. Was that 423 area? And what is 428 is the next candle up. So let's see if it holds this 423-ish area. And let's zoom into a 1-minute and see what's going on. A little bit messy. Let's see if this 1-minute area will hold this 423 and potentially get above and continue above that 428-ish area. That's ASNA. So it's retesting after the breakout. Now let's see if it can go and get above that 424 area. It's kind of got a cup and handle-ish, like kind of a cup, kind of breaking out of the cup, handle pulling back right now. It's currently failing. So it needs to get above that 423 area and continue. Look at DS. Let's go back to DS now. So DS, here is what I want to show you guys with a short. It wasn't doing much of anything at open, right? But look, it's coming down here. Now it's going right up. Look at this candle right up here. Right below, right at the 802 level. Needs to get above that to stay bullish. But remember, it is very overextended. When you get a stock like this, it's setting up for a potential pullback. It's going to have to pull back at some point. You have tweezer tops forming on the daily, and now you can zoom in to that 5-minute. Now you kind of have a double top over here. If this fails, it might be a potential short. That's why we had it on the watch list for a short. Indecision right over on this 423-ish area. If you're bullish on it, you want to see it continue upwards like that and get above that 424-ish area and continue upwards. So kind of a cup and handle. So we're kind of looking at contrasting stocks right now. We're looking at a potential bullish play, and we're looking over here at a potential bearish play. So if you took a short on this and you could locate shares, I don't think, even though Thinkorswim says there's shares to short, I don't think there is. I do a test. I have a test account up. I have like a virtual account up, so I kind of test things out to see. And I did a test to see if you can get shares to short. I don't know if it was just because of my virtual account that I have up with them that I wasn't allowing it, but I didn't see. I tried to see if it could locate some, and it says easy to borrow, but it wasn't allowing me to get any. So even though it says it, I don't think there are shares available. So now you can see cup and handle. The handle's holding. Now it's breaking out above 424. See if it can continue upwards. Again, very slower, right? 196 million shares outstanding. This is just a slower grinder. Lower risk, lower reward. So it's going to be, stocks like this are less likely to pump and dump. So if it's less likely to pump, that means lower reward, but also less likely to dump, which means lower risk, right? So these ones you might slowly grind, maybe get a 5 or 10 cent move. It might take you 15, 20 minutes, right? So it all depends, again, what type of trader you are. Right here you can see DS is starting to fail now. So if you were to short, again, to kind of teach you guys shorting. So we'll go back to longing for a moment here, right? Longing, you want to buy low, sell high, right? You want to buy at support levels, like close to moving average lines or breakout levels. And then if those areas fail, like if this area starts to fail over here, you might want to consider stopping out. But you buy low, and you obviously ideally want to sell high with that price, with the stock going up. With shorting, you want to sell high, so you would go negative in your position. Don't get scared by that. A lot of people freak out and be like, you know, it's not a complicated concept, right? It's just you're borrowing shares from your broker. So let's say you trade in 1,000 share increments normally, right? So you would go negative 1,000 shares, right? So let's say you shorted DS below $8, right? You would be a negative 1,000 shares with your broker. So if you shorted at $8, you'd be negative, 1,000 shares. You took it at $8, right? Ideally, you want to sell high and then buy low to cover, which would put you at even. So now you'd go from negative 1,000 shares to even. So if you covered down, let's say price fell down to $7.88, right? If you sold it at $8, and then what you did, again, is called covering, right? So now you're back to even. You keep the difference between $8 down to $7.88. So you made 12 cents. So ideally, when you see a short when a stock's overextended, you can take a short, especially near a whole dollar amount like this. If you took a short below $8 on DS, if the trade goes against you and you get a candle close above $8, then you can stop out. But right, you can see it was overextended right here on the daily, right? Very overextended on RSI, multiple green days. Again, could it go and break out above $8 for sure? Stocks can go against you all the time, but you would look over here. At least you could manage your risk. Clearly define this $8, 802 area. If you get a candle close above here, you would stop out, right? But at least you can, again, sell higher up in these levels and give you some time to potentially short it down, right? And you can see the patterns, double top. Top here, double top within an overall, again, very overextended. May want to pull back at some point. And so that's kind of like the whole how shorting works, right? Could this pop up and go above? For sure. This could turn into an ascending triangle and break out. And if it goes against you, it goes against you. But at least you can manage your risk. You see what I'm saying? You can have a very clearly defined, slow, methodical trade. Right now, it's not doing much of anything. So this is, again, with shorting, many of times it's going to be a slower trade, right? Gives you time you know, if you get a good entry, you can kind of wait it out for a while. But then there's other times you might short below $8 and this thing could trade sideways for an hour, right? And you'd be like, I'm just stuck in this trade. So that's where you got to determine, again, what type of trader you are. If you want to be in and out really quickly, then you trade those low floaters, right? The low float stocks that hit trade ideas. If you want time to think, time to react, then you trade more of the ones on our watch list, right? We recommend trying a combination of both, but don't trade them with real money until you've practiced in a virtual account. As you can see, this one's just kind of slowly ASNA. This cup and handle. You had this cup handle here, kind of broke out, kind of trading sideways. The 9 EMA may be trying to catch up. So now the 9 EMA is catching up to the breakout area. So now this is, again, it's kind of confirming a good potential stop area if if you took a trade on this and then you're like, I'll risk a trade on it. It's just a slower mover. You could use that 9 EMA now. Start using a candle close below that as your stop right above this area. And right here, DS, you can see this 5-minute candle failed. Now you might have a recovery candle here. So a lot of people, this could scare the shorts. If they took a short here, they could be like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? Well, you decided ahead of time you would use a candle close above here as your stop. So many times it'll just go up here and fail down. So this may go and it may break out, and if it does, the short goes against you. Or you can wait for a 5-minute candle close to happen, and sometimes you might get a 1 or 2 minute candle close above, and then it fails. So we're going to watch both of these right here. So at this point, with ASNA, want to see if this is going to go and get above that 428 candle, right? So just watching now, this 9 EMA slowly push price up. These little bull flags right here. See that? Bull flag go up, little bull flag. Now it's breaking above up here. Now see if it can hold above that 428 or 429 area, and see if that 9 EMA will catch up. And right here, look, DS. Now it's scaring these shorts, right? So now it's like, uh-oh, if I took a short there, this trade may go against me now. Is it going to go and break out? Now this might be turning into, got to look at the new pattern. Now this could be turning into an ascending triangle, right? So this could be, now you're kind of, if you're short this, you can be like, see, right here, see that? Now it's breaking out. Now we got to watch what happens. Just because it breaks above here, even if you get a candlestick close above here, you got to watch the patterns. This could go in reverse as well. This, now you have this kind of this flat top break on this ascending triangle. Now you want to see if this holds. So here's that contrasting style, guys, right? I'm going to look at the 5-minute on this one. Still holding. You can see kind of that and it's not the greatest bull flag on the 5-minute, that's for sure. It's just kind of like that indecision candle, that spinning top candle. Again, a bit overextended. Let's take a look at the 1 minute. So at this point, if you're looking at it, if you were in on this trade right here, you want to see it hold and continue and see this 9 EMA catch up. And now I would adjust, if you were in this trade, look at this kind of area at 428 as a potential stop, or again, still that 9 EMA. I'd probably adjust it right up to about this area. Candlestick close there. Look here, right? popped above on the 5 minute, still not closing above it. This candle has not closed yet. You guys see this here? I want to show you guys this over here. ASNA, slowly grinding, so you have a higher float stock, 250,000 shares. It's just kind of flying under the radar, right? Just a slower mover, not a ton of volume, but again, think about what's going on. Right now, look above. The morning gappers, everybody's looking at SBOT. They're looking at all these stocks, 2, 3 million, 18 million. Everybody's distracted over here trying to get the piece of that pie. And meanwhile, down here, you have a couple 100,000 shares, or, volume, right? 260,000 volume. You can get it in and out of a stock like this with 1,000 shares. Maybe scalp. Again, so right now, if you got at the breakout here, 424 up to 432, you're up 8 cents. Not big. Slowly grinding. You can look at this 9 EMA, proper stop levels. Maybe able to get in, get your 10 cents or so, get out. Very slow, very methodical, proper risk management. This is my style of trading. Dan, he's really good at trading these low float trade idea stocks, right? That doesn't mean I'm a better trader than Dan. That doesn't mean Dan's a better trader than me. It just means we have different styles. But if you're new, I like to personally try to teach you guys this way so you can see these patterns, because what's going to happen is you can see these slow methodical patterns right over in here, on ASNA. It's going to be very difficult for you to find these patterns on a lower float stock, because what's going to happen is you're going to get this, like you might get one of these patterns before it just completely breaks out and then breaks down. So you have to find these patterns and trade them very quickly within trade ideas, because if you don't get this one pattern here, it's already taken off. By the time you miss this pattern, it's all the way up here. So again, more reward, right? Get pumped up, you got your reward, but also more risk, because if you don't catch it, sell really quickly up here when it goes up and it gets to no man's land, it could just as easily dump. So it's very important for you to find these bull flags, these ascending triangles, these double tops, and be very aware of these patterns, so that when you go to trade these low floaters, again, I'm going to show you some of these low floaters and what's going on today. You can see right here, ASNA just slowly still grinding. So technically here you had your cup and your handle breakout, 424 up to 434. You could be up 10 cents. You could say, I'll take my profit at 10 cents, or I can say I'll use a candlestick close below the 9 EMA as my stop. So you can take your 10 cents or say, hey, I'll keep risking a little bit more. But look, you can have a guide here, right? You can kind of just, now I would basically do this at this point, and I would just kind of, let me go back to the daily chart. You see how I have time? I have time to look at this trade. I have time to go to the daily chart. I have time to readjust my support and resistance levels right over in here. I have time to think, time to react. Now I can say, okay, 450, probably going to be a resistance level because that's that $half amount. Now I can zoom back in on a 5 minute. I can say, okay, this is broken out. It's really extended, overextended at this point. So now at this point, that 428 to 450 level, this might start trying to pull back a little bit. So maybe I would wait on the 5 minute to pull back for possible reentry. But now I can start drawing, you start getting to the level like this where you can start drawing your trend lines, right? It's not a great one, but you can kind of do one like maybe like right kind of in here, right? You guys see I'm connecting the trend lines, and it's kind of running similar or very close to that 9 EMA. So you can kind of go tighter with the trend line, or you can use the 9 EMA as your guide, right? So you can see it's starting to fail it here, right? So this is showing you, okay, potential reversal, and this could easily fall. And right here, it's starting to fail. So this is your warning that it's reversing. And look, right here. Now it's reversing and failing. Again, going back to the 5 minute. Not so hot now. Right, goes up, comes back down. But even, I want to show you guys this. Even as this is happening, look, you have 1 minute, 2 minute, now you're on your 3rd minute. You have 3 minutes as this is failing. It's still only, 6 cents going down. So even though this is moving quickly now, you have a few minutes and your losses, it's not going against you really huge. It is going against you, but you're having time to say, okay, I didn't take my profits up here. I didn't get out over here. Uh-oh, down over here. But look, it's bouncing right above kind of that support area. So this is, you got to determine, okay, do I wait for a candle close below here, or do I just kind of stop out now? I'll get out now. But again, you can see you can manage your risk. You had the pattern, you had the breakout, you scalped your 10 cents, watch for a pullback. If the pattern doesn't form here or hold, then you go and you say, okay, I'll look at this pattern. This 5 minute pattern's not so good, so I'm going to go look at something else. I'll maybe look at something else off the watch list, or maybe I'll start going to some of the high warning gappers, right? Here you go. Dumped down. This pattern, I don't like it anymore. I'd look away. This one right here, DS, is now, it's in this ascending triangle. It's this indecision mode. No candle close still. So remember I told you before, if you took a short below here, below $8, look, you had this 5 minute candle go up, faked you out, scared you, failed. Now you got to decide, okay, would you still be in this short, or would you say, so right now you're, let's say you took a short over on this one at $8. Now you're 5, 10, 15 minutes going on 20 minutes later, and you're like, I'm just stuck in this thing, right? So you took a short, you can say, I'll just stay in this thing until I get a candle close above, or you'll say, at this point I don't want to wait and I want to get out. But look, even if you waited and got out here, you have time. Look, so even if you took a short here, maybe you're breaking even, maybe you take a penny or two stop, depending what your entry. If you shorted down here and like, let's say you waited to short down here around 7.95, even if you covered here at 7.98, you took a 3 cent stop, right? You're minimizing your risk. You're like, okay, I took a risk below $8. I don't want to be it anymore. It's getting choppy. Now you can see the pattern forming. You're like, okay, this went from a double top. Now it's potentially forming an ascending triangle. This thing might want to have a good probability of breaking out. So I'm going to take a stop, right? So let's say you shorted down here. You didn't get an entry at $8. Now you take a 3 cent stop. Again, you're taking a small stop. That's okay. That happens all the time. At this point now, I'm looking and seeing any other patterns that I might like. Not many off the watch list. So I am going to keep this one, DS, now. Instead of looking at it as a potential short, I'm going to look and see if this thing's going to pop at some point, because you have this ascending triangle. So now over in here, ASNA, now you kind of have almost a head and shoulders. Head up here, kind of a left shoulder, right shoulder, not liking it. But you had an opportunity. Took almost a half hour, 20 minutes or so. You had an opportunity. Look, kind of that ascending triangle breakout, and you had an opportunity to make 10 cents. Right over in here. Go back to that 1 minute, and then you can see kind of moved up. Look right here. My trend line, price broke the trend line here. Right near that 9 EMA, this was your warning sign to get out. Broke the trend line, now it's failing. You guys see that? So again, I'm not telling you to not trade the low floaters, but we know many of the people who are following us are beginner traders. And if you're a beginner trader, it's very easy to go and follow the herd, to follow the mob, to get distracted by what everybody else is trading. But you're not going to be able to ever trade those patterns or trade these stocks over here until you can trade these small patterns, let them form, and then find these patterns within these low float stocks. Because what happens in these low float stocks, they move very quickly. You don't get this type of movement very often. You get like one, maybe two quick pullbacks, and then they rip. And we're going to go and take a look at some of those. So we're going to keep DS. I want to keep this up on the side. You guys see this? Now, again, so here's where you got to think of things, right? So now you can see 803 is the new high. Now this is really going to, now what this is going to do, you have several different things psychologically, right? The shorts over here probably are covering in here right now, right? They're like, oh, this thing is looking now like it went from a double top to maybe an ascending triangle breakout. Now this, you got to be careful. This pattern could start trapping the longs, you know, and say, oh, this is going to be an ascending triangle breakout. Maybe it's going to be a false breakout above and fails. Now you got to watch and see. At least you can see this 801 to 803 levels, very important resistance. If it breaks out and then fails, then you got to be very, very careful. So this is going to be very interesting to watch, especially when it's at all. I mean, here's the weekly chart. Let's go to the monthly. It's at all-time highs. Could it still keep going up? Sure. But this might be interesting to see if there's a potential fake out coming on this one. But again, even if you took a long on this, you could use, hey, if you risked over in here, you know, like I'm going to risk in anticipation of a break above 803, you could use, you know, down this area, close maybe below 795 as your stop. So you're having a very tight stop if the trade goes against you. Or if you waited for a breakout above 803 and then you get a close below it, you can have a tight stop. So you have time. You guys see, I'm trying to show you guys that you have time to make your decisions, and you also have time to make a decision on how to manage your risk. Whereas over here, if you're new and you start chasing all of the top movers and you don't define your risk, this is where you get burned. All right, so let's look over at some of those ones. Give me a moment. I'm going to be back in a couple minutes, guys. I'm going to grab some more water. We're going to watch and see right here when I come back if DS can get above that 803 level and hold. Again, you're seeing higher lows forming. You're a clearly defined top at all-time highs. Again, if this breaks out above 803, it's no man's land. There's no resistance level above. It could go on who knows how high, or it could drop who knows how far, but you can see this will be support. So we don't know how high this can break because there's no other resistance levels above. There's no guide. So keep an eye on this. I'll be back in a few minutes. Let me take a look at, see if there's another one to keep an eye on until I come back. Nope. We'll keep a chart of the market up. And look, guys, the market is dumping right now. So let's go to the daily, see where it's at. You know, it's heading near this 20 EMA right here. So be aware, be careful over here, and see 803 is your guide. If this thing breaks out, if you get a candlestick close or it starts to close below here, be very, very careful. Just showing you guys these patterns. Again, a potential bullish play when the market is heading down could trap the bulls on this. Gotta watch and see. I'll be back in a couple moments. All right, everybody. So we are back, and let's take a look. All right, so let's go over here and take a look. So now DS would potentially intrigue me. So now you can see I was gone for a few minutes. I came back. Now you're starting to get a potential. It still hasn't closed yet. See that? It still hasn't closed above 803. So now we watch here, and then we start to zoom in on the 1 minute. Then you go say, okay, let's see what's going to happen here. Is there going to be a retest of this 803 on the 1 minute? If so, we'd watch if it bull flags. If it bull flags and holds, then you might take a look and say, okay, maybe I'd look at this long. And so we wait. So now it's going up. Look, see that? Very quick. Up. And then down. So you can see again. Let's move this drawing. We'll adjust the trend lines. So now you have right over kind of like that. You guys see that ascending triangle? Right in here. So here's your higher lows forming. Breakout, all-time highs. How high is this going to go? Let's say you're on a monthly chart. There's no previous resistance, so there's no guide. So now you would have to say, okay, if you took a trade on this, how high is this going to go? Do you take a trade just because it breaks out? Well, look, it broke out here. It's got up to 806, and now price is down to 802. So this could just be a complete and total fake out, and this thing may dump. If it then dumps, that might be your opportunity to short. Right? See, here's your 5 minute. Goes up, starting to fail. So all of this action here could have literally, this one candle close right here, could have faked out the shorts over here that got in early, or they could have said, okay, I can see this being a fake out. I'm going to stay in and I'm going to wait. And as you can see, watch this pattern. Even if you took a short below $8 or down over in here, even if you took it down at $7.95 and you waited for up here this whole entire time, you're still only at a 10-cent stop right now. So you could have literally, thought about the psychology, what's going on, all-time highs, possible fake out. Even if it went against you and you held, you're still at a 10-cent stop. You guys see that? So I'm not saying that it's going to go down or up right now. It doesn't look so hot at the moment. But this is, again, the psychology of trapping the shorts, then trapping the longs over here, suckering them in, and now, boom, now it goes against them. But you have to remember, where was the resistance level? Where is the resistance level on a stock that is at all-time highs, that is incredibly overextended? There's no guide. There's no guide to it. And now here it goes. Now this might be your chance to say, okay, if you didn't get short, now might be your chance that I'd say, okay, I might really start to look at this. It broke out. It's failing over here. If it starts failing VWAP and the moving average lines, this thing might drop. And then you can start to see, kind of looking at your pattern, potentially, you can say, okay, this might be the head. This area might be the left shoulder. And then it might eventually start forming a right shoulder. You can start seeing kind of a neckline extending down. You can see previous close here, then down over here, and then it can continue. So this is one of those slower kind of movers. If you got an entry right up here and this thing starts to collapse, you could be in this for a while. You might be in it for a couple hours, got to watch and see. But this is kind of the psychology and how you would trade this. All right, let's take a look at some other things that might be moving. Watch, this ones are not looking so hot. Market is dropping right now. Right here, now it's starting to fail the 9. Now you got to watch. It could easily fall to that 27, 35-ish area. Got to watch and see over here. So now let's go and see. Oh, let me get my water. I forgot it. All right, so let's go look at some of the ones that are the higher movers on the day. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, you can see a bunch of the ones on all the watch list now are the ones that are on the watch list. They're going bearish. So we had an opportunity. I show you guys today. Good opportunity for a good 10-cent scalp. Other than that, not much going on. So now you can say, okay, watch list. Okay, 10 cents, big deal. Maybe a short forming over here. So not going on. So you can say, oh, Lucian's watch list, terrible today. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So let's go and say, okay, I bet you the morning gappers, that's where it was at. Lucian wasn't showing me the right stuff. Well, okay, let's go and say. SBOT, and you can say, okay, if you're a pattern trader, you're looking at the patterns, right? You can see broke out right over in here on SBOT, actually right above here. Let's do this. If you're waiting for the 5-minute setup to form, it broke out and you wouldn't have had a chance on a 5-minute. Highest mover of the day, no chance to trade it if you waited. So if you're a patient, kind of trader, you would see head, left shoulder, and right now it's kind of the right shoulder, but you can probably see right around this area in here will probably end up being the right shoulder. So again, looking on the patterns over here, if you were to trade ideas or the higher movers on the day, like I was showing you on our watch list, you wouldn't have had a chance over here on the 5-minute. On the 1-minute, we can go and see. Let's see here. So now I'm trying to see a decent entry in how you would have traded this on the 1-minute. And guys, it's so risky. Look at all of these spinning top candles over in here. Incredible traps. Maybe I would have looked at it right over here. Maybe right around one of these candles for an anticipation of a break of high day right over in here. And you could have, 307 to 325. I still don't love it, right? It's still, where's your clearly defined bull flags? Too choppy. You can see right over in here, now you have kind of that ascending triangle kind of forming, right? So you could do, let's remove this. So now you have your drawings. You can see, okay, well, waited a little bit. Now I can kind of draw my trend line over in here, and you can see. All right, so this is a possible ascending triangle over in here, right? All these 1-minute candles, you can see 288 down to 267. These are 20-cent candles, 308 down to 286. These are bigger candles now on a lower fault stock. And really, if you're trying to trade it safely, maybe over in here you would have taken this trade. Let's see, 307 to 293. You're still looking at a 14-cent tiny little candle here. So you could have maybe gotten at the break of this or waited for the break of the top of this flat top over here, 312. So here's what I want to teach. So here's a perfect example of what I'm trying to teach you guys, right? What are you trying to make when you're day trading? What is your goal? Is it 1,000 a day? Is it 100 a day? Is it 500 a day? Well, let's break it down. Whatever your dollar amount is, what is your scalp that you're trying to make? Are you trying to get $1 every time you make a trade? Are you trying to make 50 cents? Are you trying to make 10, 15, 20 cents? What is your goal? If you don't know what your goal is, how are you going to reach it? Right? I want to make at least 10 cents on a trade. Right? I want to minimize my risk. Do I want to make 50 cents on $1 on every single trade? Absolutely. Who the heck doesn't? But I have a clearly defined, I want to make 10, 15 cents. I might want to risk maybe 5 cents to do it. I want to keep my stops tight. When I get that 10 cents mark, I might consider taking profits or see again, is there more room to run? I'll adjust my, maybe I'll stay in a little bit longer. Maybe I can get 15 instead of 10. I adjust my stops. I'm thinking methodically, right? If you're just trading blindly It's very risky to do. So now again, I showed you earlier that 10 cents, we waited it out. There was an ascending triangle break. You had a few minutes and you could have scalped and made your 10 cents. Here's almost the same identical type of one on the highest mover of the day. If you wanted to trade this safely, I wouldn't have traded this maybe in here, this hammer. That's another possible one right here. So you can see it pulls back, and then you can see this hammer. That's another potential entry. So 295 up to 308. Okay, perfect. Another, again, confirming my point. You had this 295 up to 308. So that's 13-cent move, and then boom, right back down. Then you may have possibly looked in over here. This, if you didn't get in here and you waited for the break of the flat top, now you go 312 to 325, and then it dumps on you. So what did I just show you guys? What is that? 12 and 13-cent moves super quickly. So now you're against everybody in the world trying to scalp 12 or 13 cents, but you can easily lose it and more very quickly. So this is where you have to determine, again, you can make a ton of money trading this and go very quickly, but you're trying to, again, you're scalping that same, 12, 13, 14 cents. Can you make more? For sure. If it's a better day and the market pumps up, you might get 30 or 40 cents. But you could easily lose 40 or 50 cents the next candlestick down. So that's why we want to teach you guys safely, is that you don't trade these until you're comfortable, right? Until you know the patterns. Here's this ascending triangle like I showed you guys, and the one that, let me take a look at the one earlier. That was ASNA. So you can see this ascending triangle. You had one, maybe two plays, and then you're out. So you're out over here, and then over here, boom, it goes against you right over here. So you're scalping that 10 cents or so very quickly. You're in and out. But going back over ASNA, now you're looking at a higher float. This is 196 million shares outstanding. Slow grinder compared to 5 million shares outstanding. Again, lower float. And you can go back and see over here on the 1 minute, right over in here, it was kind of doing, again, another kind of an ascending triangle. It was kind of actually over in here was a flat, it was kind of a cup and handle-ish right over, and kind of down here. Cup, kind of this handle right in here, and then your handle right over in here. And then you got your, if you started looking at an entry right in here, or back here, the break of a cup. Or it wasn't, it kind of is actually, if you look at it. It was kind of a cup and a handle, but you can kind of see actually over in here, it's still kind of an ascending triangle as well. So if you took a trade on this, right in these areas, right in here, even though it's kind of going a little bit sideways, you could have, again, 424, wrote it up to 34. You started to see this candle here. Maybe you would have taken your profit. So a slower grinder gets you 10 cents, and then it started to fail. The quicker mover on SBOT, which I just showed you guys, another kind of an ascending triangle, wicked choppy, still trying to get that 12 and 13 cents, break above this hammer in here, which is right here, to then scalp it real quick, and then it dumps. Right over maybe in here, or the break of this flat top, scalp it really quickly, and it dumps. So that's where, again, there's no right or wrong way to trade this. If you like those low floaters, trade them. But make sure that you know how to find these patterns. Again, see this? Ascending triangle on a low float stock and an ascending triangle on a higher float stock. When you look over here, when there's your fake outs over in here, you might have a 1 or 2 cent drop right over in here, 434. Even as this thing is tanking, 434 down to 428 as it's failing, you're losing 6 cents, right? On SBOT, as it's starting to fail, you're having like failures from 311 down to 290. There's 20 cents in a couple minutes, right? 325 down to 306, 20 cent drops. So that's where you have to determine, again, you can trade both of these equally and make profits, but you have to, again, the most important thing when you're trading these is define your risk. if you're safe when you're trading these and you wait for the entries, again, going back over here to the pre-market high. Let's go to pre-market high. It's kind of in over here, like right about that 265 level. If you got in really quickly, so here's the thing. Do you get in? So here's one that if you got in, so this one, there are some people like, so here's a perfect example. There's some people that like to get in right at the break of the bell, right? And this is one of those trades that would have worked for you. So this is one, if you got in on the 1 minute right as it broke, so some people will say, I'll get in at the break of the high of the pre-market, and I'll get out the close at the break of the pre-market high. So here's one that actually worked. So this one, if you did it, you actually didn't get a close below that, and you could have actually, that would have been a great trade. But remember, these happen on a daily basis where they will pump up like this on a 1 or 2 minute candle and then immediately dump way back down here. So that's the kind of the, if you're trading blind, I'm just going to get in on this, and you're not watching for these patterns, you could very easily get burnt. So be aware of the risk. You're still gambling. If you're just, hey, I'm going to buy this candle really quick at the open when it breaks high of the pre-market, be very well aware that a good amount of the time, where can that drop, right? So like, you got to understand, like, that everybody's watching it, that this thing could easily go up, but then it could drop so far down, right? So that's why we try to, teach people, let the patterns form. So again, if you're trading the 1 minute, let the patterns form. And in here, it just was so choppy, and this would have like made your stomach turn in here. Maybe you got in here, right, and over in here. But again, this would have churned your stomach a little bit, and maybe you waited at least for this ascending triangle over here to break, and then here you go, break of a flat top. And if you didn't take your profits here, again, this would have still said, okay, maybe I'll stay in over here, and then boom, right back down. Super quick. Got to be very, very quick. And now we're looking at, let's go look over at DS again. I'm going to look at some of these other ones right here as well. DS, now I would probably remove this trend line over here. I actually clear my drawings at this point. So this one right here, you can see high of day 806, and then now I would adjust the trend line like that, right? And then I'd probably, support right around in here. So what do you see when you see this? This thing is just, it's just tricking people all around right now. This may be forming a double top over here. We'll see. But, keep adjusting the trend lines. And, yeah, I don't like the pattern on that one. Before I go over here, I want to see if there's anything to look for on our watch list. Let me look at ASNA. So ASNA, I'm going to remove the drawings. You can see high of day right at the 434 marker right up in here. Possible some reversal. You can see 450. Again, psychological resistance area. And then 474. Let me go to the hourly. It is kind of, it's above the moving average lines on the hourly, but you have a high wave candle here. And now let's zoom in a little bit to the 5 minute. And now you start to see, okay, this might be forming kind of like a triangular pattern here, like a symmetrical triangle-ish or a pennant. So you can see, okay, let's see if price is going to go and continue. Get above that, maybe 428 area for a possible break above that 434. But again, these triangles, very tricky. Sometimes they break out, and until they can get above that 434-ish area and continue, they can get choppy, and then maybe they turn into an ascending triangle after a symmetrical triangle, or it might turn into a double top. ADAP. Again, I said to you guys, I think I tell you guys when I do these, I'm not a huge fan of symmetrical triangles. I don't like them. They're just not my, I'm not a big fan of them. ADAP. Go over to the daily. Yeah, not looking so hot. I was looking at this one with ADAP because I was seeing that it was potentially holding. You can see high a day, 1320. It's kind of holding the 5 or the 9 EMA over in here. Then I can kind of draw my trend line and see. You know, maybe I would. Yeah, it's not the greatest right now. Let me try on a 1 minute, see if I can get a better one. Maybe can zoom in right over about in here. So now this is one I might, you know, peripherally keep on watching and say, okay, is this thing going to start slowly building an ascending triangle? You know, maybe it's going to look to break out. It's just kind of trading sideways, no volume. I'd keep it over on the side. And just wait and see if that slowly starts to build. So again, not much on the watch list I'm looking at right now. So let's go back over again to some of these ones that moved the morning. And, you know, S-Bot not looking so hot. Now let's look at some of the other ones. This one, I don't even know what the heck that is. It looked terrible. DRL, DF. ASCMA. All right, so again, let's go back and see, was Lucian, did he build a terrible watch list? Is he not what he's doing today? It's not looking so hot. Well, okay, let's look at the ones that move, right? Pre-market high over here on ASCMA, right over about that $3, right? Here's your 5-minute setup. What did the open do? Failed pre-market and just dumped. Now you have a double top. Let me fix my drawings. So kind of a double top. Look, kind of could have faked you out for a potential cup and handle and just dumped. So 51% mover today. It's up, but where do you trade this? Not on a 5-minute, so let's zoom in on a 1 minute and see where would you trade this thing. Surely not at the opening bell. To be honest with you, I don't see anything I would have liked. Maybe a break, so maybe you're like, maybe I'll take a scalp if it breaks above VWAP, right? Maybe I'll get it above VWAP, 284 up to 293. Have to be really quick, right? If you did that, took a trade above VWAP, boom. If you don't trade, get out there, you're out. Boom. Right up real quick, dumped on you. So, don't like that one. Cassie, let's take a look at Cassie. Was pre-market high 865. What happened at open? Well, bear flag. So did nothing at the open. Again, these are where you got to learn how to short, right? For the ability to short. Still not a great setup on the bear flag. Maybe, yeah, I still don't like even any of these on a setup for a bear flag. Got to be very careful. Let's see, 709. Again, look at these candles. 710 down to 675. 704 down to 670. Big candles, difficult. Maybe I would have said, it's kind of a descending triangle. So these get a little trickier, right? Kind of see this, right? You guys see kind of a descending triangle. You can see base right down over in here. So now look, I got a descending triangle, and then it could also keep falling to previous close. So these where it gets a little tricky, right? If you start trying to short a descending triangle, the proper way is to short below the base of a descending triangle. So sometimes it gets very tricky to trade inside these because this could easily pop back up right up here and still be in a downtrend, right? So here's your descending triangle. This is where you'd say, hey, maybe you would take a short if it breaks below 645-ish area. And then look at support below the 200 SMA and then previous close. So again, not looking so hot even on these high movers. HMNY. What did this one do? Okay, so this one may be right here. So HMNY, this piece of garbage stock, pre-market high was right over in here at 32 cents, right? So you could have gotten in at the break above this 5-minute candle. So you can see 33 cents down to 30 cents. So, okay, 3 cent risk, right? So maybe not bad. And then you say, okay, maybe I'm willing to risk on this 5-minute candle for a break above using a close below that as my stop. And so 33 cents went up to 37 cents. So you had the potential to make 4 cents, and then it completely dumped. Anticlimactic. So there was a potential good pattern to trade, right? You know, nice candle. Could have gotten in a break above this. Candlestick closed below that. Then it just dumped. So all that, those 3 5-minute candles for a complete dump. Let's look at APVO. All right, so now APVO might be one that I'd stop and say, okay, this is one I'd be willing to look at more. Right here, so borderline, it's probably below 20 million float because this is shares outstanding with Thinkorswim. So now I can see, okay, not a ton of volume, but here's what I like. There's patterns, right? It's kind of moved up. I would have waited for kind of this top to form right over in here. So now you kind of have this flat top, right? Watch for it right here. I still probably wouldn't have taken a trade. Again, very overextended on the 5-minute over in here. I wanted these candles to move in closer to this 9 EMA on the 5-minute. Now I have a clearly defined flat top. It's 10.05. And what is this? 965 area down to 953. So now I have a potential 12-cent stop. I would go up to the daily chart and say, okay, you know, where does this have room to run? It's got room to move. And then I would say, okay, I'm looking at this, the 5-minute pattern. Let me zoom in. Man, I have too many lines on this chart. Hold on. So the 5-minute pattern held. Let's go to the 1 minute, see if I could have gotten a trend line from there. Now you're starting, not great, but maybe right to here down to here. So now I would go in and I would zoom and I would take my trend line right over in here, and maybe start to extend it out in here a little bit, right? Start to catch over in here. I would have had it probably out here earlier in the morning and then adjusted. So now there you go. On the 1 minute, here's my ascending triangle. I found a pattern. Now, on the 1 minute, you may not have gotten an entry. So look, if I'm looking on the 1 minute over here, I would have probably gotten in at the break of this candle over here. You had to have been really quick because this one may have faked you out right over here. But then right up here as it broke out, it didn't really pull back until over in this area over here. So you got to be kind of quick. But on the 5 minute, if you got in right here, you had to have been very quick on this candle right over in here. 566, and then would have probably shook you out. So here you go. This 5 minute candle breaks out. Then you get this candle, and it's probably going to scare you, right? Because you'll be like, uh-oh, it's overextended, broke out. I'm going to probably stop out. So you got in, let's say you got in above 566, and you got out at 573. Anticlimactic, right? Great pattern. Moved up 7 cents on the 1 minute. Where's the trade? The trade was you had to have been really quick had to have gotten in really quick on this candle. And then after that, maybe right over in here, 582 to 591. You made your 9 cents. Where's your major trade today, guys? There really isn't one if you're long, right? Over in on SUPV. Let's go to pre-market high. Right over in here. And then right off the bat, boom, went from 1535 to 1574. What is that? 40-cent move. Went up, dumped back down. So if you're looking for the setup on the 5 minute, Not a good setup. And as you can see over here, what do you see for a pattern? What is that pattern? That's a descending triangle. So go to a 1 minute chart. How would you have traded this? Right. You would have had to catch it really quick over in here. If you missed it, you would have waited for a pullback right over into here. So maybe 1557 up to 1578. So even on a $15 stock, you got 20 cents, right? Not too much. You guys seeing this? Right here, CBWTF pulls back up. Maybe you get in at the break above right over in here, 91 cents. And what did it do? It went up to 95. Big deal in all that time, 4 cents. YTEN, pre-market high, $1.90. What did it do at open? Dumped, and then it formed a what? Here is your top. Here is your second top. That is your double top pattern. Failed to break pre-market high. Dumped. How would you have traded this? Definitely not on the 5 minute. Again, if you're going long, then you go to 1 minute. How would you have traded it? I wouldn't have taken a trade on this. Garbage. And last one, MYSZ. Your 5 minute pattern. You know, you would have had to get lucky for a break above $1. Right? So again, remember these stocks, many of these times they set up for a quick break above $1. And then they'll dump. If you didn't catch it right back over in here for the break of $1, you would have missed it on a 5 minute. On the 1 minute, again, you would have had to been quick. Maybe right back in here, but still $1.06 up to $1.13. If you didn't take your profits right down here, you're back down to $1.07. If you didn't trade that thing within a minute, you're coming out with a penny profit if you're lucky. So my whole point being, in everything I just showed you guys today, my watch list sucked and the market sucked today for bullish trades, right? So I didn't do a bad watch list. I just did a watch list based upon indecision, right? This is why we say, please never, ever trade our watch list, our alerts, or anybody's alerts on the planet. Don't listen to any guru. Learn how to trade yourself. Because going back, again, if you watched our watch list video last night, and the ones we do, what are we always showing you guys? We're showing you charts, patterns, and what the market is doing overall. And as you can see, futures, the ES over here. What is futures doing? See these blue lines that are connecting these lines and these trend lines? Price is what? In a symmetrical triangle. Symmetrical triangles show forms of indecision. What are these candles over in here? They're trading sideways. Lots of spinning top indecision candles, bouncing off resistance, falling to support, smacking around. And as I was saying last night when building the watch list, very difficult to trade when the market goes sideways like this. You want it to go either up or you want it to go down and choose a direction. When it trades sideways, very, very difficult to trade. That's when you either sit on your hands and you do not trade. There are no obligations for you to trade, right? Who's forcing you to trade? Just you. You're the only one that puts pressure on yourself to trade. No one's forcing you to trade. And you don't need, this is why we try to teach people this, right? You don't need to make several trades a day if you're a day trader. You don't need to make, several trades a week. If you wait for the best setups, you can make 1 trade, 2 trades a week, and really, hit a good trade. Wait for the market to go up if you're a long, wait for the market to go down if you're a short, wait for the right setup and scale in and get a good trade without trying to just chase all the time. Like if you're trying to trade this stuff, it's very difficult. You'll see I showed you my entire, pretty much the watch list today, and the ones that are moving up today. And the best thing I saw was maybe SBOT for 12 or 15, 12, 13 cents really quickly. So not much going on because look at this. So this is the stuff we like to show you guys, is just be aware of the overall market, what it's doing, have a plan on every single trade that you make. Do not take a trade just because it's going or hitting trade ideas or because some guru is buying the stock. You have to know how to trade support and how to trade, or actually how to trade patterns, right? And know your support and resistance levels. Dan is saying, getting ready to get a good buy on IQ. Let me take a look at IQ right now. So IQ is not hitting my high day over in here. Let's see. Trade ideas. So, unless I'm behind on trade ideas, I'm not seeing IQ anywhere, so I'm not sure if it's a higher price stock. So let's take a look at it. Yep, so IQ is a higher price stock. Are you taking looking for a short, Dan? I'm assuming he might be looking for a short. Let me go intraday. So you can see. Let's take a look at the 1 minute. I mean, you can see a really big bear flag right over here. When we go to the 1 minute. Dan, that's funny. Yeah, so again, so everything, so going back to what I was saying, I just get distracted easily, guys. First of all, you got to learn how to be adaptable in these markets, right? You got to be able to learn how to go long, how to go short, how to be able to trade on days like this. Also be able to discipline yourself to sit on your hands. If the setup is not good, do not take a trade. More importantly than profiting is limiting your losses and defining your risk. As you guys can see, I just showed you, so incredibly difficult to day trade these. But guys, remember, that's also going to transition to the bigger stocks as well, right? It's going to be lots of indecision. Let me look at ASNA for a moment. ASNA. So look at that. Remember we had the lines drawn from earlier? Let's remove this line. And now you guys can see, remove this line. Now what are you seeing here? Potential ascending triangle. But look at this. So you can see, come on. I don't know what's going on with my mouse today. So kind of a cup and a handle within an ascending triangle, right? So it's one to keep an eye on. So you see many times these will go and they fake you out. So that's why you got to be careful with these ascending triangles, right? The safest way to trade them is wait for a breakout, watch for confirmation, and let it go up. You know, wait for a bull flag and continue. If you get an earlier entry in anticipation of a break, you might be able to be in the trade a little bit longer, but then you got to also deal through some of the choppiness of the up and down, right? So you can see cup and a handle, ascending triangle, and it's showing weakness right now. So I was looking at this one peripherally, and now I'm like, oh, I don't like to see this. Let me go over to the 5 minute. Still got the ascending triangle, but again, as you can see, very choppy throughout here. Ideally, you would have wanted to look and get in on this candle right here as it held that the heck is that one? My brain's going crazy. Not the gravestone doji. What is the other one? Dragonfly. There it is. Dragonfly doji right off the 9 EMA on the 5 minute. Right here, you would get in above that 426 using a close below that as your stop, 422. If you were to take this trade, again, still kind of anticlimactic, 426 up to 435. It's failing. It's still kind of holding. It's still in this ascending triangle, but big deal. You make 9 cents, but that's okay, right? I mean, guys, this is a perfect example of something. If you get the right entry, if you're trying to take a trade on a day like today, and it's a super grind, you get in an anticipation, right? You see this forming, kind of, you can see a top here, possibly forming an ascending triangle, or at the time, you could have said maybe this is more of like a, kind of a, more of like a symmetrical triangle, right? It's a little bit sloping down more than I want, but then you saw this dragonfly right off the 20 and the 9 EMA. You would have said, I might be willing to take this risk. High a day was 434. I might get in anticipation of a break, and then it goes up. And then you can say, okay, as it's showing weakness, maybe I'll take my little bit of profit. But even if it goes against you, like, you could still be in it. You're looking at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, almost 30 minutes later. Again, higher price stock. That's how higher floaters work. All right? All right, guys, so this is it. I'm calling it a day. Again, the biggest lesson from today that we learned, because we always try to find a lesson or something to learn, is a couple things, right? We looked at, we could have scalped 10 cents off our watch list during a grind on a slower mover. Was it? I think it may have been ASA. Was that the one I was looking at? ASNA earlier. Was this the one? I'm losing my brain now. Which one was it? I forget. But I showed you guys earlier a couple times. 10 cents on one of the ones. I think it was ASNA. Right back in here. Yeah, that's what this is it. So we were looking at this one earlier. Just to recap, we were looking as this was forming kind of this cup and handle-ish thing right over in here. And we could see we're looking at this as a potential breakout right over in here. So kind of a cup, a handle, also within an ascending triangle. Broke out, and then you can see this warning kind of candle right up in here. We were talking about, hey, you know, this is showing some potential indecision. Do you take your 10 cent profit from 424 to 434? You could have taken profit before obviously was breaking that trend line I had up earlier and gotten out on this slow mover. Or you could have taken S-Bot, dealt with the choppiness of it, gotten in at the break of this ascending triangle, made your 12 cents. Maybe risk down in here had it been really quick, 295 up to 305. That's your 10 cent move, or a break at the top of this ascending triangle from 312 to 325 for your 12 cent move. So again, how do you, just ask you, how do you want to make your, like, what do you, going back to everything, what is your goal when day trading? How much are you looking to make, right? Again, I talk about this all the time. I say to you guys, if my goal is to make $1,000 a day, so let's pretend I'm a guru. I'm not a guru. Don't call me a guru. I'm not a guru, but let's pretend I'm a guru for a moment. And I said, okay, guys, today my day, my goal is to make $1,000 today. Be like, oh, cool, Lucian's a guru, so I want my goal to be $1,000 a day too. Well, no. Hold on a second. Wait a second. You don't know what's in my brokerage account. I might have $10. I might have nothing. I might have $100,000. I might have $1 million, right? You don't know what's in my brokerage account. So if my goal is $1,000 a day and I have a $100,000 brokerage account, if you only have $5,000 in your brokerage account, it's going to be a lot harder for you to make $1,000 than it is with me at $100,000. So don't make yourself or compare yourself to the guru and have the same goals as the guru. You have to break it down. If your goal is to make $1,000 a day, you have to know, okay, if you only have a $5,000 brokerage account, you're going to have to adjust your strategy. And you might have to, you know, like with me, if I had a $100,000 brokerage account, I could buy 10,000 shares, scalp 10 cents off that trade earlier, right? I could have gone in on ASNA, bought this is such a perfect example I want to show you guys, right? Let's go over in here. If I had $10,000 or $100,000 in my brokerage account, I could have looked at this flat top or that kind of cup and handle and said, okay, guys, I'm buying, I wouldn't tell you I'm buying 10,000, right? I'm not telling you. I just said, okay, guys, I'm in ASNA. I'm the guru. You're waiting 1,000, 2,000. Okay, trade gets out to you. You're like, oh, Lucian's in ASNA. I got to go and he's the guru, so I'm going to go and chase his trade. Cool. I'm going to hop in Lucian's trade. He's a guru. I'm going to follow him. Awesome. Lucian's talking about it's bull flagging. All right, here. I look up here. I'm a guru. Let me get out of my trade. All right, guys. Out. Right, let's go back in here. Right up here. All right, guys. Out. ASNA. 1,000, 2 1,000, maybe 3 1,000. Now you guys hear, oh, okay, Lucian's out ASNA. I'm counting 1,000, 2 1,000, that stuff because there's a delay, right? There's always a delay when calling out the trades in and out. And then you got to like panic, get in the trade. You're coming in after me. You're getting out after me. So chances are you may have gotten a good entry like me right around in here. But chances are as I'm calling this out, you may have missed the exit as me and kind of caught it down in here. But let's just say you did the same thing as me, right? My brokerage account's 100,000. Yours is 5,000. I bought 10,000 shares. I sold from 424 up to 434. Nice kind of slow grind. 10,000. I made 10 cents, right? 10,000 shares times 10 cents is $1,000. So I look like a hero, guys. Yes, killed it, nailed it today, guys. I made $1,000, hit my goal. Great day. It was a little bit of a grind, but hey, guys, I made $1,000. Woohoo! Then I can go and I can go to you guys are. Oh man, great job, Lucian. Awesome, man. Super cool. You made $1,000. You're awesome. And meanwhile, you're like, oh crap, I only made $100, and you're beating yourself up. Meanwhile, you may have made the same trade as me, but your brokerage accounts is 20 times less than mine. You made $100, I made 1,000, or yeah, again, you made 100, I made 1,000. You made the same trade as me. The only reason why you made less is your brokerage account was less. So don't get caught up in the gurus and the hype, right? So now I go later today. Woohoo! Awesome day in the trade room, guys. I take a nice snapshot of a photo. Maybe I'll put up my like this, or maybe smile at you guys. Yee-hoo! Put my finger, my thumbs up in the air. Put a thumbnail. Lucian made $1,000 in the trade room today. Woohoo! And you're like, oh man, this guy's awesome. What did I do? I just scalped 10 cents. I had a $100,000 brokerage account. Big deal. Who cares what I made? What matters is not what I make, not what Dan makes, not what Tim makes. What matters is, do you know how to trade these patterns? It doesn't matter what trade I am in or Dan's in. What matters is, do you know support? Do you know resistance? Do you know how to trade? If you don't follow a guru. Don't follow me. Don't follow Dan. We're not gurus. We're just trying to help you guys. Don't follow any guru. Learn, support, and resistance. And I think that's that for today. Actually, let's go back over here again. So again, just showing you guys patterns as we see them. Look, why is it starting to move up right now? As I was just showing you with ASNA. Cup, handle, within. Let's do this again. Voila, right? Ascending triangle, cup and handle. Now it's got to hold that like 435-ish area, 433, 4 to 435. Be aware of, again, where's resistance? 450. Ah, come on. 450 and then 474. Going back over here to the 1 minute. Again, see the patterns. And then let's go back to the 5 minute and see, okay. Yep, there you go. All translate. So that's your ascending triangle. Ideally, if you got out of the trade earlier, you waited for this thing to pull back, let all this kind of garbage form over in here. And then look again. Right at this candle for a potential reentry. This one may have shook you out, but still no candle close below the 9. You still could technically be in it. So then you determine, okay, am I going to get out on a 5-minute candle after I get in over here? Or am I going to take my profits or use the 1 minute? At this point, right now, you can see, again, resistance. But look, patterns, guys, so incredibly important. I'm going to drill into your head until you're sick of hearing me say this. This same pattern on this slow grinding stock is the same types of patterns that you want to go and find on your lower floater stocks, right? Going back to earlier on that 1 minute chart, going right back over here, and I'll start to conclude. You can see kind of that top that was formed on the day. Go in, draw your trend lines, and do you guys see S-spot? And let's go back to ASNA. What do you guys see? I'll go to a 1 minute over in here. Well, there you go, guys. What do you see? Ascending triangle on a 1 minute, ascending triangle on a 1 minute. You can trade both of these. You know, again, essentially you're still having the same rules, right? Do you wait for a breakout, confirmation, retest, and go and take your scalp? Or do you get in a little bit earlier and ride out, you know, depending on where your strategy is? You know, obviously it gets a little trickier in those ascending triangles with your stops, right? Sometimes you kind of pick somewhere right in the middle of the triangle, and it can get a little hairy throughout the process. But the whole point being in all this is find these patterns. The ascending triangle is still the same on ASNA compared to S-spot, compared to, I mean, let's even pull up Apple. I have no clue what Apple did today, but no ascending triangle, but you can see a kind of a double bottom here, or a cup. And it kind of did a handle, right? So you can see, once you start seeing patterns, you're going to see them everywhere, guys. So right here, kind of a base right up here. And then you can see right over in here, that cup pattern goes, breaks out. What does it do? Kind of pulls back. So your cup, handle pull back. Then what does it do? It goes and breaks out. And then it kind of has your bull flag in here. And then maybe you could have taken it right back over in here, up, and then kind of gotten out over in here. So again, cup, handle, goes up, bull flag, getting closer to the moving average lines. And when you start seeing some warning signs, take your profits. But see, all of these patterns on these intraday patterns all go to daily, right? You still got to find the daily. It's all support and resistance in all these patterns. So incredibly important. All right, that is what I got for you guys today. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Again, I'm going to channel my inner sales. I was in corporate America sales for 20 years. I like joking and saying, again, back in the day when I first got in sales, man, I'm almost 40 now. I was back in my early 20s. It used to be elevator pitch, right? So you got to say, what do you tell people if you're in the elevator with them and you only have 30 seconds for an elevator pitch? Right? And then it evolved in my years in corporate America sales to wedge statement, right? Did a whole major training on wedge statements. Awesome, Raph. Raph says, same here. Love the Bullish Bears, right? Thank you. We love that. Then you have the elevator pitch, right? Oh, from elevator pitch to wedge statement, right? So they probably, I wonder who thought of I wonder if someone had to come up with a multi-million-dollar idea to say, hey, the elevator pitch terminology, that's getting kind of stale and old. So let's come up with a multi-million-dollar idea to say the same thing and just change the word to wedge statement. So what is your wedge statement when you go and you knock on somebody's door? I used to do business-to-business sales.
Perhaps there's something I can do for you?
Oh, Siri. Well, hello, Siri. I hit my phone. So my whole point being is I don't want to give you guys a wedge statement. I hate corporate America sales. So My wedge statement is, if you see value in what we offer, then come and join us. If you don't, then don't. How about that? Very simple. You can subscribe over here for $10 a month. Right? Only $10 a month. So my wedge statement for you today is very simple. If you see value in what we offer, come and join us. If you don't, don't. And then have a great day. All right, guys. Have fun. We'll catch you all later. And that's what I got.